He's like, "Whoa, woe is me." All right,
Oh,
there it
there it
goes.
is.
Oh, well, all right, hold on. Let's go ahead. Let's give it a countdown. Welcome back to the High Jupiter Podcast Live. Today we have on Angel, and we're going to talk about some ghost stories in Memphis and some of her personal accounts, as far as I understand. First of all, sorry, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, but it's been really bitchy. and Pam, thank you so much. She said go over in Chrome and give it a try. I had to go and set up everything real quick, so it took me a minute. Um, if you find yourself coming back to the channel, please go ahead and like and subscribe. This every Friday we have a podcast that comes out, a pre-recorded podcast. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a live. So let's get right into it because she's kind of pressed for time because of the issues I was having on my end. Let's welcome to the Eye of Jupiter podcast, Angel.
Hello.
We finally got it to work. Oh my Lord!
Yay! It's exciting.
Yeah, because there was something that happened to personal that you couldn't come on the first time. We don't have to go into that, of course.
I know.
And then it looks so much better. And it's we're going to use Chrome from now on, Pam and Paranormal Paul. This is where I'm going to go from now on to do these because it is much better. Angel, you and I,
Yes.
I think I met you because Angel lives down here with me in the same city of Campeche, Mexico. And I met her, I think, like a year and a half ago in Walmart. And she was like,
Yes.
I just seen this
Met you
big
at
woman.
Walmart. You were
Yeah.
speaking English, and it immediately was drawn to that. And then the second time I met you was when we went to go meet for a beer at a football game at Lapa Lapa.
And which my team lost, yes. Yes. And our mutual friend, my boss, our mutual friend was like, yeah, come on down. And his team kicked the crap out of my team. That's where I met your husband. And also the guy I helped, because we're not doing any more, build a house for. So that's been it's been quite the trip. And then how was it after that? Oh yeah, so you moved to your new place, right?
Yeah.
And, right. So she's got this awesome place right on the ocean. It's awesome. And so we had to move her solar panels. And then
Tom installed my solar panels.
And then we had to take them back down because we were afraid the hurricane was going to blow them into the sea. And the hurricane never came.
Oh yeah, the hurricane just like hop, skipped, and jumped right over us.
So you already have, look, it's Pam saying, welcome, Angel. Boom, welcome. Thank you, Pam, for saying hello. So it was Mexico. Yeah, Mexico yes, Walmart is in Mexico as well. Their little grimy hands are all over the world. So we hit it off, and she's a cool cat. She's awesome. She's retired. She come down here, moved with her husband down here, and just kind of half joking. I was like, "Would you ever be, because she was telling me like, there's the neighbor's house. I think there's something over there," and kind of getting into the paranormal. I was like, "Would you be willing to come onto the show?" And she was like, "Hell yeah!" So here she is. So, Angel, for the Eye of Jupiter, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I've been in Campeche for about 3 years now. My husband and I moved here from Memphis, Tennessee, and we spent many years there. It's a really cool city, but it's also an awful city. But there's lots of trippy ghost stories in Memphis. And I
Okay.
was
All right.
lucky and unlucky enough to experience some of them.
Okay. Well, I just, whatever one you want to talk about first, or whichever one you is interesting, or whatever you
Okay,
think you would
well,
like to talk about. And, yeah.
if your fans are music lovers, I can tell you this one is a friend of mine works there. It's a bar called Ernestine and Hazel's, and it used to be a brothel back in the day, way back in the day, and it was owned by a black madam, and it was Mick Jagger's inspiration for Brown Sugar, actually.
Okay.
But anyway, this bar is so haunted that to this day, and it's still open, it's a tiny little dive bar. But to this day, people that work there are scared to be there at night because even after everything's closed down, locked up, unplugged, the jukebox will come on, the lights will come on. You can take the plugs out of the wall from the jukebox and it'll still come on. It's a trippy place, but it's great for the tourists. But my experiences with ghosts in Memphis were my family and we have 5 kids, and when they were teenagers, we moved into this big house in the suburbs. And when we first moved in, it seemed great, big enough for all 7 of us. It was in a lovely school district, nicest house I'd ever lived in. But within days, we started noticing strange things, like the lights blinking on and off, and sounds of people being there when no one was home, and little things like that. We hired electricians to come check out the lights, why they were flickering on and off. Nothing was wrong. We started noticing that in my closet, all of my clothes would always be knocked down off the hangers. And when I'd pick up the clothing, these little red balls would appear. And the only balls my kid had were their testicles and maybe a soccer ball. But these little red jack balls were there. And I thought it was strange. And I thought maybe the kids were playing a trick on me. And then as long as everybody was fine, everything seemed to be fine. But when the kids would start arguing, which was often because it was a house full of teenagers, the lights would start flickering on and off. And as soon as everyone shut up, it would stop. And so again, I'm thinking it's an electrical problem or whatever. So one day I'm at home by myself, and all of a sudden, I hear kids coming in, running up the stairs, laughing, giggling. And I was like, oh, cool, the kids are home. And a couple of minutes later, I went up and I realized school's not out yet. So I go upstairs to inspect. There is nobody inside my house. But you could hear it was like 5 or 6 kids. I just thought for sure it was my brood. But no one was there. So when the kids got home, I was like, hey, this is what happened. And they're like, Mom, you're weird. Just, you're just hearing things. It must have been a neighbor or whatever. So I go upstairs to my room, and it just stinks to high heaven of roses. Smells like somebody spilled rose oil or something in the room. And I was like, oh my God, it was gagging me. So I go in my daughter's room and I was like, hey, come smell this. This is the weirdest thing. My room smells like there's a graveyard, like roses everywhere. We walk back in the room and it no longer smelled like roses. It smelled like feces. And I mean an overwhelming aroma that knocked you back. And we left the room and we're like, what in the hell? She's like, Mom, that does not smell like roses. And I was like, well, duh, you did a minute ago.
I know you like to think your shit don't stink.
Right. So before you knew it, at night, we go to bed, wake up in the morning, and all of our photographs would be upside down in the frames.
What?
Not the frames upside down. The frames were right side up, but all the photos were upside down. In my bedroom, the living room, the den, anywhere there was a photo, except for my kids' rooms. In my kids' rooms, their pictures never were upside down, but mine and Leo's were, and the rest of the house was. I was convinced that my tribe was trying to play a trick on me. And sure enough, no, but it kept happening night after night after night. And it would take me a long time to fix these fakakta pictures, right? And it kept happening. So one night we're at the dinner table and I'm like, Leo, what's going on? I'm getting a little nervous about this house. Something's not right. There's just too much going on. And so the kids started arguing, and sure enough, all the lights started going on and off and on and off and on and off again. And I was like, oh my God, we got to stop. Let's go outside. As soon as we go outside, I go back in, the lights are fine. The kids come back down, sit back to the table, everything's fine. As soon as one of them starts arguing with the other, the lights. So I was like, oh, Jesus, we got to find another place to live. This is just too weird. I don't have this kind of time on my hands to deal with the pictures and the lighting and the this and the roses and the shit. And so we started looking for a new place to live. So it turns out I found another house, which was great. But then that was right around the time of the internet coming on and, becoming popular. And so I looked on the internet and did a background of the house that we were living in. And it turns out that there was a little boy that died in that house in my closet, which is why all the balls were always on the floor. And we didn't possess balls.
Those little red jack balls where you like
yes, like when you're playing jacks.
Well, see, for everyone, for the millennials out there, there used to be a game that the older people would play. I played it too, but very, very slightly. It's like a little ball, maybe the size of like a gumball, like gumball machines, and it's like rubber, and these little jacks. They were like metal, and they had like little balls on the end,
like metal stars.
Thank you. Yeah, and you would like bounce in seven. You can pick up with I think one hand, and she was finding these in her closet, which the little boy died in. It's crazy.
Yes, and my teenagers did not have these little jack balls, right? And it was just the strangest thing. So I started looking into, how he died. His mother killed him.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So every time they would argue,
him, and
then the energy would kind of rile up. Oh, that's right.
Yes, he clearly was not settled, and he didn't scare me. His presence didn't scare me. It was just more of a nuisance. But you could tell when my kids weren't getting along, that's when he was unhappy. He wanted everything to be happy. And so if they were fussing and fighting, that was it. But all of my clothes, I had this huge closet, Leo's clothes all hanging up nice on the hanger, all of my clothes down on the floor every single day. He was mad at his mother.
Because you're the mother, right. And your pictures were upside down in the frame.
Upside down every single day.
That is fascinating.
We ended up living there for a full year. But it did not take long for me to start looking to move forward.
And out.
And out. And the funny thing is, where we moved to, we wanted to rent a house like in the downtown area in the historical district. And so the lady comes to meet me to tell me about the house. And she says, well, I have to disclose to you that my daughter died in the house. She was 3 years old. And I said, oh, well, this is nothing new to me at this point, right? So she tells me the story. She died a natural death. She was a St. Jude patient, had cancer and survived until she was 3, but she died at home. And I said, well, let me go in and just see how it feels. And we went in, and it was the happiest place on earth. I swear to God, that child's presence was brilliant. I ended up living in that house for 17 years.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. But the difference was she died naturally, but just had this. Anytime you were in the house, even strangers or guests or neighbors would come in the house, you would just feel so good. And so I never really had bad experiences with, for the lack of a better word, ghosts, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
I never really had a bad experience. The first experience freaked me out a bit, but it wasn't.
That was
really
your first
vulnerable.
one when you moved in with your children
in
to
the
this
house with the little boy that was murdered.
And you had nothing before that in your life?
Personally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then after that, you start noticing things.
So when you entered this house that you lived in, when you entered this house that you lived in where this was happening with the pictures and all that, was it ominous to you? Was like when you go in there, would you feel something?
You definitely felt something, and the odors would change. The sounds of people running up and down the stairs. But the only negative in it was my clothes always being on the floor, the upside down pictures, and the lights blinking. But I never felt like it wanted to harm me in any way or frighten my children in any way. It didn't feel bad. It just felt really weird. But for instance, the house I'm in now in Campeche, although I don't have any ghosts in this house, the house next door to me does.
Yeah, you were telling me.
When I walk the dog at night, boy, you will see slippery, negative shadows just going back and forth across the patio. And it's
the one upstairs?
It's a little ominous.
The one upstairs? The patio upstairs?
Huh?
The patio upstairs or the patio downstairs?
No. Their patio, my next door neighbor's patio. They're downstairs.
Okay, they only have one.
Patio.
And you see
and whenever
this when you're
I'm
walking your
walking
dog.
the dog, we go past it and you'll see them, and it scares the shit out of my dog.
Really?
Lucy
I gotta
cowers.
go hang out with you.
She would rather walk out in the street and around than to walk past their front patio.
I'm going to take you up on this, Pam. One evening when I get off work, whenever it is that you walk your dog in the evening, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to accompany you. And if it happens, it doesn't, or whatever, we'll still have a good time no matter what. I'll bring, we'll bring
definitely.
some nature's choice, whatever you want to call it, and we'll take a walk there. And that would be fun. That would be cool. Maybe I get a picture.
No doubt.
Yeah. So you got up out of Memphis because Memphis is a pretty dangerous place, ain't it?
It really is. In fact, my daughter was recently a victim of a violent crime by someone who turned out to be somewhat of a serial killer.
Oof. Okay. You don't have to go too far into that.
I don't even like to think about going back to Memphis anymore. It's gotten so out of hand. The crime is really bad. The one thing that I loved about Memphis was the music and the art scene and the food. Really good foodie scene, really good music scene, mostly blues and rock. And a lot of young hipsters, a lot of artists. It's got a cool vibe, but it also has a very negative, ominous vibe because of the crime. The crime is outrageous there. But
it's not like here,
which is too bad.
It's worse than here.
Like you can't have everything, I guess.
And it's worse than here.
Crime in Campeche.
I had my car battery stolen twice in a month.
Well, that's true. I mean, stuff like that does happen. But I don't think there's much violent crime going on in our city.
No, no. There's once in a while some undercurrents. You hear some rumblings. If you go to what's it called, La Peña. There's an area over here called La Peña. That one's a little rough. Samula can be a little rough, but it's nothing because I'm from Baltimore, and you know that Baltimore's infamous
Oh yes.
for crime. Like downtown is
Baltimore
all,
and
hey,
Memphis go hand in hand.
Detroit is another one. Chicago. Those it used to be New York back when we were young. New York's like, oh my God, Times Square was all seedy and all crazy, and now it's all Disneyland with M&Ms and shit. And people like because I lived in Germany, and Germany is completely and utterly safe. I never felt anything there. It's really drab actually, for lack of a better term. But and then when I get here, my dad's like, "Are you going to be safe down there?" I'm like, "Dude, you live in Baltimore, dude. What are you talking about?" And then, so because when you move here,
I guess
and I don't want
it'd
none
be
of you
different if we
Americans
were in
coming here.
Tijuana or something, but we're not.
No, or Juarez, or
crime-ridden areas in any country.
True.
Interestingly enough, my first 6 months here, after being here about 6 months, on my street, Yelp and Alma might have told you about this. Leo and I witnessed an assassination.
Is this the one?
But he wasn't from Campeche, and the people that came to kill him wasn't from Campeche.
Yeah, you live near them at that time? You lived near them at that time?
I was 6 houses down.
Oh, okay, I know which area. Okay, I know where that is. He's like, because I'll be riding right up there.
Yeah,
you go down
right there.
The main drag there, going back towards the Malecon. He's like, out there, some dude got assassinated. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a nice place.
When I heard the gunshots, I did the Memphis drop where you just like drop and fall below the window.
Now I was thinking, knowing you probably just took another sip of your beer and going, this reminds me.
Yeah. Actually, what I said is, that's a 22. I can definitely tell the difference between a 9mm, a 38, a 45, and a 22.
Awesome. So what else is Memphis known for when it comes to the paranormal? Is there any because I know Memphis is kind of like, I know there's like the blues and things like that. Of course, Nashville's country music. So like, what else about it is paranormal that you wanted to talk with me about today?
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on what you believe in. I personally, I think that there's a theory that energy never dies. It just moves. It can't end. There's no beginning and no end to energy. And like people that I've lost in my life, even that, for instance, I had a very, very, very good friend that passed away when she was in her 40s. And I was with her for her treatment, and I was there with her when she passed. And one of the things that I would do for her was, because I believed in touch therapy, I would rub lotion and rub her legs and her feet, even when she wasn't conscious, just to be able to touch her and stuff. And to this day, I will wake up in the night feeling someone rubbing lotion on my legs and feet. And I just know that it's her. Huh? But I know that it's her.
In the house you're in now.
Wherever I go. I could be in Europe. I could be in New York. I could be here. It happens to me quite often.
That would freak me out, dude.
Well, the first time it did. It doesn't anymore. And then a few years back, I lost a really good friend, but he was 96 years old. It was his time. It was time for him to go. But he was a real important person in my life. And one of the things he would always do whenever he'd give you a hug is pat you 3 times in the back. I always called it a hug of dismissal. A hug of dismissal, and he'd pat 3 times.
Hey, buddy.
And so there's also times, especially when I'm in bed, where I will feel him pat me in the back 3 times out through the blankets and everything. And
And you're
so
just like
I
unfazed by
think that
this.
I just am in tune to certain energies. You know what I mean? Like I just receive
Yes, of
them
course.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it like other people, like say family members or whatever, that have gone wherever they go when their life ends, nothing, absolutely nothing. But people that had a special importance in my life, like my friend Sherry and my friend John, those two visit me often, and it's usually when I'm in bed and not asleep or stoned or drunk, just in a relaxed place.
Relax, everybody. She's retired. She's done all of her work. 5 kids and a full time and working her whole life. She can retire. Let her get drunk or stoned and lay in her bed and get rubbed by the ghost. Just let her enjoy
I'm
her life.
telling you, there's good foot rubs too.
That would freak me out, dude. That would freak me out. I got touched one time when I was 8 years old. Something reached up between the bed and the wall and put its hand on my chest. After a whole series of shoes flying around the room and lights flipping off and on, and being scared to death at 8 years old, something touched me, and I got to be honest with you, I never want to feel that again. But you're just like,
Oh
that's
yeah, I could imagine
that's my buddy
so.
John.
Yeah, and who knows, man? It could have been a great uncle or a grandfather or something that was just looking out for you, bro. You never know. But as an
No,
8-year-old kid, it
no,
scared the shit out of me
no.
too.
I had my sister on. I had my sister on like episode 5 back when the podcast was with Rye, and she was telling me, but that same energy still follows them around. Follows because it was both sisters were there and me, and my sister got chased up the steps. Something was running behind her. She started walking the steps, and then she heard footsteps behind her. Ran up the steps. She did. Jumped in the bed with my sister and my half sister and her boyfriend, and then behind her the door slammed. So it's the same energy.
Yes,
25 years later,
definitely.
I
I
left the whole
completely
country. I was like,
believe
bye,
that.
energy.
Yeah, because if I feel like if the energy has someone that can receive it, they'll follow you. You know,
Yeah.
because not
And
everyone is willing to
so, how
receive
much have
the
you heard
energy.
about? So, to change the shift gears here, how much have you heard about this place being haunted? Because I've heard quite a bit.
The place, what?
This place, Campeche, Mexico. How haunted is this place? Because I got to tell you, it's very haunted.
Oh, I've heard some great stories about the legends, man. Have you heard about the Leyenda de la Bruja in Ceiba Playa? The legend of the witch
In Ceiba Playa, no, I haven't heard that one yet.
in Ceiba Playa. Okay, so there's this big cave in Ceiba Playa, and it's a small little town, as you know, but your followers
Yes.
might not know. And it's a little fishing village and everything. And so a long time ago, uh, there would be this little old pitiful woman that would walk around at night and knock on people's doors to ask for a bite to eat or some water. And of course, you see the little old lady, and of course, you're going to invite her in and give her some food and water. And so they'd say, "Oh, why don't you just sleep here? It's late at night. Come sleep." So they go to bed, and you wake up in the morning, and she's gone, and so are your children. And so
Oh my
this was
God.
happening all over the village. That this woman, this unseeming woman, um, would show up all pitiful and then somehow steal your kids in the night. So eventually, all the villagers get together and say, "We've got to find this woman," because no one could ever find her in the daytime. It was only at night that she would approach. And so they said, we're going to go out and find this woman. So all the men get together and they go out late at night in search for this witch, and they catch her and they put her in chains and they chain her to the cave right by the ocean. Because when the tide is out, you can go in the cave. But when the tide is up, it drowns whoever's in there. It
Wow.
fills up with ocean. And so that's how she died. But because she's still not at rest to this day, there's a certain time of night, I want to say, the witching hour, like say 11, 12 o'clock, that you can still hear the chains and her screaming from the cave.
Oh my God! So I'm going down there.
Yes, you need to go and ask anyone about
I'm taking a road
legend
trip.
of the witch.
I'm going to ask my girl. ¿Sabes, amor, sabes
Leyenda
tú
de la bruja.
Leyenda de la bruja de Cielo Playa?
Ya, el faro del morro.
¿De qué?
Se llama el faro del morro.
Then her name is Faro de Moro. Okay, so she knows about it as well. So it actually is very well known.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. That's crazy.
There's another cool.
Right. Go ahead, go for it. No, please. Whenever you run out of stories, I got another one.
Fascinating. We have this street here called Calle 59. It's where all the tourists go, and there's bars and restaurants, and there's little women everywhere selling you shirts or bracelets or jewelry or whatever. And no matter if you're sitting down having dinner, they're going to come interrupt you and try to sell you their wares. So I found out that there's a legend of one of those old women, and she's at unrest, and you can see her just like she's a total human form, and she walks up and down the streets, but she won't try to sell you anything, and you can't ask her for anything because she won't respond. And she just walks the streets of Calle 59 with a shit ton of shirts and bracelets. And so ever since my friend Carlos told me about this legend, I was like, I got to find this woman, right? Because they all approach you. You cannot escape them. They all approach you to sell you something. So one night we're out there, and sure enough, there's this old woman, and we kept trying to get her attention, and she kept walking. She didn't try to sell a single thing, but was loaded for bear with stuff to sell and not selling a single thing. And I was like, that's her.
Let me get her email address, but she won't talk to me.
And I'm trying to think of the name. There's a name for her too, but it's a legend, the legend of Calle 59.
Well, let me ask her. Okay, Calle 59 está una leyenda, una persona de vendo las cosas o ropa, cosas así. La leyenda está ahí, son vieja, y ella no vende nada y tú no puedes preguntar algo. Existe en Calle 59 de siempre aquí acá. ¿Tú escuchaste este?
Hay muchas leyendas, pero no recuerdo.
She says there's a lot of legends here, but that one she doesn't know. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of legends. But those are two of my favorite ones that I learned about.
So check out these stories, man. So I work with a guy. You know him. You know Norberto.
Oh, yeah, Norberto.
Norberto, our buddy Norberto. He was telling me that there's a certain part of the city. It's up off of Colosio. And there's two of them actually. So one time it was his uncle and his uncle's friend, and his uncle lived at the house, and his uncle's friend came, and they were drinking in the backyard, hanging out. It's like a big backyard, like some of these places have huge backyards, like like an acre. Some of them are really big, and they kept hearing it's like a little wooded area in the backyard, like noises. And the guy goes, "Oh, I'll tell you what we're going to do." He goes, "What?" So they set out a beer, and they put a cigarette out, and they lit the cigarette and set it on the table, like a little ways away, a little separate table. And this creature came out. Have you heard of Alucius?
The what?
Right? Alucius.
Wow.
They're very famous here.
Yeah.
You don't know Alucius? Okay, because I've had some run with some stuff there too.
Yes. Oh
yeah,
my
dude.
God.
So yeah, dude. So this thing came out is about 3 foot tall. They look like a cupid. They're I can't think of the name of that type of element. Picked up the beer, drank the beer, started smoking a cigarette, and his uncle seen him and freaked the fuck out and ran away. Got a fever for 3 days. Right?
Oh my God.
Never came back again. All right. That's one. Here's another one. It was Norberto when he was young. He was. It was like they had a cave in their backyard. There's caves all over the place here. It's Yucatan is full of caves, and he was telling me it's all in Spanish, guys. So and translate. So he was telling me that they were playing hide and go seek in this cave, right? So they go into the cave and count, and they would go hide, and at the end of the hide and go seek, they all come to the front of the cave and they're like, "Where's this one little girl at?" Right? Like, oh, we don't know. They go back into the cave and they hear this little girl talking to something. This little girl then ran out of the cave, screaming and hollering. Also got a fever for like 5 days. This is also very common. She was telling me sometimes you can get in for a fever for a month here when you run across these things. And got a fever for 3 days, developed a stutter, and still has a stutter to this day. She's seen an illusion in this.
Oh,
cave.
wow. It literally scared her to death. Wow.
It scared her. It gave her a speech impediment. Like I've seen on my ranch, you want to go real wild. I'm talking about out there. I'm way out there by San Lorenzo, out that way. I'm out there sleeping, and I see above my daughter in her hammock. We're outside underneath this, roof with sombra de mosca, the screen mosquito nets, and I see a light on the ceiling, like 3 a.m, like this bluish white light, like kind of moving a little bit. I go to look to see where it's coming from. I didn't fucking see it anymore. I didn't. Like it was something like someone was playing with me. Nothing. So
wow.
I go, that's weird, and I try to go back to sleep. I turn and I lay in the hammock. You can lay left or right depending on which angle you're in. I'm in it, and I hear something in my left ear go, like right here, dude. And I fucking swung my fist because it's just a natural reaction. Nothing there. Another time I'm out there, I'm in my area, and off to the right, there's like this bathroom I made. And I see the light, instead of being on the metal roof up here, it's on the wall. Once again, I go to look to see where this damn light's coming from. And then when I did that, it's disappeared again. I'm like, oh, and it's like 3 days apart from each other. I'm laying in the hammock again, and then but behind me this time, I'm in a different spot with the hammock this time. Behind me, outside of the netting into the forest, I maybe 20 yards away, 30 yards away, I hear a woman's voice. Like, I can't understand it. It's not Spanish. It's not English. It's not German. Those languages I understand. I'm guessing maybe it's Mayan. And
probably.
And I'm not a Christian, but I do know that when these things happen, that name, if you invoke the name, it holds power for whatever reason. I did that and just said, leave us alone. We're not here to bother anybody. I also had a rock thrown at me out there, which is also another sign of Aleutius. Because I'm 2 kilometers off the highway. It's 1 kilometer. So what is it? Like almost a mile. And it's wild. One day I'll take you out there. I want you to meet somebody anyway when we're out there. I know you got to get up out of here, Angel, because we started a little bit late. I appreciate it so very much.
I really
if you came on. It's always fun.
Tom. Thanks for having me on. I hope I didn't bore you to death.
No. Well, I'm going to take you up on a dinner date. The Angel's so kind to offer that me, my girlfriend, and my daughter come over and have a nice meal. She says she loves to cook, and then we will set up a date for sure. I promise.
Meet them both. Okay? All right. I'll see you very
soon.
Thank you so much.
Very trip. Thank you very much, baby doll. Thanks for coming on.
Bye.
Bye. So sorry, guys, we're a little bit shorter today than normal. I was running into a lot of technical difficulties, but from now on, I will be using a Chrome browser. Don't forget there's super chats. We also have a members section. Don't forget to Don't forget to sign up for Magical Journeys. One of my great moderators. Go to sign up on his channel. Go over to Fisher of Spam Night Watch. Is that correct? He's got a new channel. I'm gonna go and give him a hand over there. Go and sign up for his channel, Pam. There it is. Thank you, Pam, very much. There's his channel, and don't forget to also, like and subscribe to this channel. I know it's a bit short today, guys, but technical difficulties always seem to happen. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, buddy. Thank you so very much for being so kind and wonderful for me as well. This is Magical Journey. You can also look him up. Just go ahead and type that in. If you see that blue icon, then you will be on this channel as well. Whoa, Fisher was spam. I'll go ahead and mention him. He sends me $5. Thank you, buddy. He's going to be on the actual podcast, and let me look at the date for you guys real quick. So we'll do all this post haste because I wanted to make sure that she can get on. Let's go ahead and take a look when these podcasts are coming out. I'll give you a little update while we're doing all this. Let's go to my content on YouTube Studio here. Fisher is spam. His episode is going to be. I'm a little backlog. Oh, Pam. Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you, baby. So Fisher Spam is coming on. His episode is going to be dropping on the 13th of September. I know it's a long way off. It's over a month. But I'm going to tell you what, guys. It's a banger. It is. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Freaky. Very nice. It is one of the best stories I've ever heard on the podcast. That's really cool. What else do I got coming on? Let's make sure you guys know. Give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Next week, I have on Jason Kenzie. He's coming on Friday. He is a guy who goes out and he's trying to find Bigfoot. There's a match. I have the best. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it. I have the best moderators. We love you too. I love you too, man. You're the best. I'm going to have you on again too as well. Thanks. Jason Kenzie. He's a film producer, and he's got some awesome Bigfoot screams that he heard from somebody in. It was a person, a Native American on some reservation. Crazy. He's going all around the world. He might even come down here. Thank you too, Pam. Much love to you, sweetheart. Then I got Jamie Harvey coming on. She has an NDE experience where she experienced Christ consciousness. You can go over and see that episode, I believe, and you can also see the one coming up with James Faka. James Faka has a 10-foot owl story that attacked him in the forest of Indiana. That's also in the members. You got members. You get. I still got to send Fisher. I got to send you your background, buddy. I'll do that right after this. Actually, I'm gonna go do something. Never mind. I'll get to it as soon as I can. How's that? He has a incredible story. He has a couple other incredible stories. I might have him on a live whenever time permitting. But this 10-foot owl story, fantastic. I also have on a podcast. I can't think of the name of it. Or Paranormal Stories, Dark Stories. They have on their Random Nautica, Skinwalker Ranch. They've been all over the place looking into these things, and I got to talk to them. I had Cameron Hammer on. He talks about dark minds and serial killers and school shooters and all this kind of stuff, and the concept and the mindset behind what it means to be like a little bit off in the head, and what are some of the telltale signs of seeing these things. So it was pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. Next week we have on Rocco again. He came on last week. Get your questions ready and get ready to ask him. He's going to have. Apparently, he told me that he got abducted like 3 days ago. So go ahead and write all that down, guys. Go ahead and get him ready. I'm Fisher Spam. I'm going to make sure I get you on as a moderator too, buddy. That way you can help me out because I think it's going to be an onslaught of a lot of questions. So I have a second episode already recorded with him where I was a little bit more engaged with him, a little bit more questioning. Yeah, sure. Yep, absolutely, buddy. And to make sure that we get to the bottom of a couple of things. And of course, Fisher Spam, your episode, CE5 attempt goes wrong, dark visitor in my driveway. Crazy story. He has a lot more. He said he's going to come and help me out. I got a ton of questions for Rocco. Yes, hey, thanks for, hey, Harp, sounds right. This is cool. Yeah, Fisher Spam, he's the hammer dog. Fisher is the man. I'm going to be helping him a lot for his podcast, giving him some pointers, some tips. I think I was the only, well, no, it was me and another person on his first live. He's like, I'm going live, dude. I was like, I'm coming on, give him a hand. Hey, how do I do this? Hey, you push this button because he also uses StreamYard as well. How do I do this? And, we're just helping each other out. We have a community of great people. The podcast that I really enjoy listening to and hanging out with are the Blondes and Blues. Blondes and Blues, I always say that. Blondes and Blues, go and check them out. Go and check out Paranormal Among Us with Paul. Try to get him to 1,000. He's up and around the 600s. I'm at 781, I think, at the moment. So we're marching our way to 1,000. I know it really doesn't mean anything significantly to you guys, but it means a lot to me because I've been working so hard at this for more than a year. I've been on my own since February, and you guys seem to really like my content and really like what I do, and I really like you guys, whether it be Magical Journey, Freaky Geek, Pam, Fisher Spam, all these guys. You get each and every one of you. I love you all very, very much. I hope you guys keep coming back. And if you now, let me ask you all a question. I know Wednesdays is not a good day to do a live. I'm very aware of that. It just fits better in my schedule because on the weekends I get to spend time with my girlfriend as well as my daughter, and it means a lot to me. But maybe Friday nights. Maybe I'll drop an episode on Friday. I've been thinking about it. You guys go ahead and give me some feedback in this video. Go ahead and like. You'll let's see. You'll get there, man. You're really good. Hey, thank you so much. It shows them. Thank you so much. That's a very sweet thing to say. Magical is October. So yeah, dude. Let's do some. Let's get some ideas from. Maybe I'll do like a Halloween theme thing behind me, and then we're gonna do. We'll do some spooky Halloween stories. Maybe we'll get like all the crew on here. Like maybe one day we'll get on like. But you guys can't moderate, so Pam, maybe you can just moderate amongst the moderators. You can just help us out and promote each one of our channels, and we'll have like maybe Friday's work. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I know. We'll stay on Wendy's for a while. If Pam says no, then it's no for at least quite a while. I was thinking about that. Maybe Daniel, Magical Journey. Maybe we can get on Fisher Spam, and we'll have us three. We'll just like go and shoot a rag. I got a couple people. I also want to have one too. I'm going to be speaking. I have a couple in the bank too. I probably have episodes all the way to like the middle to end of September. I actually have quite a few episodes lined up. So I'm going to try, now that I have this space in this room. Yeah, okay, Panda says you like the idea. Great. The space in this room to work on the pod, I'm going to go try to find some big guests for you guys. I'm going to look real hard, like scour the internet and try to find like some of the best stories I can find, some of the most interesting people, and really do what I love doing, which is, basically just talking to people. It doesn't have to always be, spooky stories, scary stories. Those are fun. They can be a little salacious, of course, but it's scary, which is why horror movies exist in the first place. And so they're fun. But I also like talking to people about everything: psychedelics, religion, consciousness, what they feel about what's going on in the world. And I do have a gentleman who thinks he found a portal in the forest outside of, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dayton, Ohio. Very interesting. And he wants to come on with me, but we're going to be on Rumble to do that because we want to take our gloves off. It's going to let it loose. Take our socks off. It's going to knock your socks off. I'm just trying to think of what they call it, a Eye of Jupiter Unveiled or something like that. It seems like everyone says that. But yeah, I'm going to keep punching away. If you guys keep coming back, I'm going to keep coming. And if you ain't here, I'm going to keep going anywhere. But I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys for the super chat help today. I really appreciate that very much. And let's go and say, and remember, we are the eye and we are aware. Love you all.